In 1913, there's a series of lectures at the Odeon Theatre in Buenos Aires, given by Leopoldo Lugones, who was a national poet. The president goes, lots of very senior figures. Everybody goes to these lectures. And this is a national poet talking about national character. Who are we? And he concludes that the spirit of Argentina is best represented by the Gaucho. The cowboy who made sure that the huge herds of cattle were safe, and from the huge herds of cattle you get the beef, and from the beef you get the wealth. So the Gaucho is massively important. And also the Gaucho is a very romantic figure. There's a reason why cowboy films are popular. Because the cowboy is glamorous.
In all the world of romance and adventure, there's none to compare with the Gaucho.
He's battling the elements, he's battling wild animals, he's got this great virtuosity. And so you get Gaucho clubs set up, and they all dress up. They dress as what they think Gauchos look like. They put on these big barbecues. And one of the reasons the asado, they do the great barbecues, are still an absolute centerpiece of Argentinian social life.
The Gaucho was romanticized in books, was romanticized in music, and also because of the way they dressed. So the Gaucho for sure was super important.
And then the British wipe him out. And the way they wipe him out is by introducing wire fencing. If you have wire fencing, you can do selective breeding. And if you can do selective breeding, you get a higher meat yield and you can make greater profits. And this absolutely revolutionises Argentinian farming and thus Argentinian society. So economically, eventually the Gaucho and his influence is wiped out. So you then have the question, where do you find the Gaucho in an urban environment? So El Gráfico, one of the world's great sports magazines, at its peak it was selling, I think, over 100,000 copies across South America every week.
El Gráfico was born in 1919 and it ran until January 2018, so 99 years. It was this revered magazine product, Bible of sport, whatever you want to call it, but it was very special. Many people learned to read with El Gráfico.
It's not a football magazine, as in a glossy thing with a couple of interviews. It really goes into detail.
Maradona first met Pelé in a production specifically for El Gráfico. Muhammad Ali came to Argentina invited by El Gráfico. It was like the football's Rolling Stone magazine.
So El Gráfico, they say, that spirit of a Gaucho, that combination of toughness, cunning, cleverness, virtuosity, and glamour, where do you find that? And they say you find that in the pibe. The pibe is the urchin child of the streets.
Y el único juego que tienen es una pelota.
He learns the game on the potreros, on the vacant lots of the city.
The potrero is more than a football pitch. It's the imagination of a football pitch in an unthinkable terrain.
On very uneven surfaces, so you have to have this technical virtuosity to control the ball.
That could be full of holes, stones, glass.
They're often very crowded, too many people playing in too small a space.
It's dirt, it's also tackles, it's also no referee.
And the schools, you have a teacher with a whistle to stop things if it gets out of hand. In the potreros, you have to be able to look after yourself. You have to have that cunning, that streetwiseness.
This is the place in which many talents couldn't survive.
So this is 1928. Boracoto is the editor of El Gráfico. A pibe with a dirty face, a mane of hair rebelling against the comb, with intelligent, roving, trickster and persuasive eyes, and a sparkling gaze that seemed to hint at a picaresque laugh, but does not quite manage to form in his mouth. His trousers are a few roughly sewn patches, his vest with Argentinian stripes, with a very low neck and with very many holes eaten out by the invisible mice of use. Barefoot or with shoes whose holes in the toes suggest they've been made through too much shooting. His stance must be characteristic. It must seem as if he is dribbling with a rag ball. If this monument is raised one day, there'll be many of us who will take off our hat to it, as we do in church. Now this is 1928, and what he's giving you there, if you take that extract and you don't give people any context and say, who is that? It's Diego Maradona. It's obviously Diego Maradona. 49 years before Maradona makes his international debut, 32 years before Maradona's born, he predicts the coming of Maradona. And that's why when Maradona arrives, immediately he's celebrated because people have recognised this is the saviour we were promised.
You knew in your head he will save you.
Porque para nosotros es un Dios.
And that's why he becomes El Pibe d'Or, the golden pibe.
Eso Maradona, Maradona.
Tenemos dos, uno primero Dios, Jesucristo, y el otro Diego Armando. Es el Diego.
Maradona's importance to Argentina is greater than the significance of any one sporting figure to any other nation. I mean, Maradona exists on a totally different plane in Argentina to anybody else.
A man who adorns nearly every corner of the country's neighborhoods. A man responsible for a significant percentage of the male population being called Diego. A man who inspired a religion boasting tens of thousands of members all around the country.
Iglesia Maradonian.
Y cuando tengo que prender una vela por algo, se la prendo a Diego. Cuando tengo que pedir algo, se lo pido a Diego.
Maradona was larger than life, period.
But for anyone left who still doesn't know, Diego Armando Maradona was the man who in 1986 led an unfancied Argentinian side to their second ever World Cup trophy.
No one saw that he was going to put such an individual performance, that a team that just a few days before the World Cup was performing very poorly and no one has any hopes about it, will transform it into a winning team.
It's a single moment, it's a single World Cup where like one player has grabbed the tournament by the scruff of the neck and won it. That's only happened once in the history of the game, of the World Cup.
That was the magic of Maradona.
All of which led to nationwide scenes and emotions the country had never experienced.
It's the greatest day in Argentine football history. Like, no, nothing's even close.
No podías caminar. Si se explotaba de gente.
You look at the celebrations after the final and it's extraordinary. It's millions of people on the street, these mass celebrations.
People were like moving cars. They're so happy they were moving cars, literally.
And as far as you can see, it's people, blue and white shirts everywhere.
I think winning that World Cup was almost as big as getting democracy back in '83.
And whilst yes, Argentina had won one other World Cup in 1978, that was won during a time the country were under a despised military dictatorship.
It was a fantastic victory, the 1978 World Cup, but there was always a dark cloud because of the military rulers of the time.
And so over time, it was that 1986 win that became a unique symbol of Argentine utopia.
That thing that surrounds, that World Cup, that mythology, it will never be, it cannot be replicated.
And whilst Argentinians fondly remember every moment of that tournament, there's one particular game from Mexico '86 that's remembered most fondly.